welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm participating in the Paw Your Way Into Our Hearts Hop, which is where we scrapbook our pets, and it was started by Miranda Weber and Rebecca Lockhart. For today's scrapbook page, I am scraplifting Laura from the CityScrapper, and it's a page that she did for a Halloween scrapbook page. And she's used mixed media, so I like the inspiration, although this one obviously is going to be for a dog and not Halloween. So to start with, she did a lot of mixed media, and she used shimmers paints. I don't have any of that, but I'm using some distress ink, and I'm starting with some Spun sugar, and she used bubble wrap to apply it, so that's what I'm doing. And she used 2 shades of green. I'm going to use the Spun sugar and then also use purple. Also, I'm going to make this into a double page scrapbook layout, but I'll just show you doing the one page. My ink dried just enough in between doing the 2 pages for me to go ahead and start my second color. So for this one, I'm using shaded lilac. I was really impressed with Laura's layout, even though I don't usually do Halloween photos, and so I really wanted to try it with some other type of photos. So I will put a link to her video at the end of this video so you can check that out. Laura added some splatters around the edges of her mixed media, and so I decided I would do that also. And since I didn't use the shimmers paints, I thought it would be good to do the splatters with some mica mist, so that way I would have some sparkle in it. And I'm trying to use up my Nuvo Mica mist. I think I finally used up the green, so now I'm using this pink, and this one, the sprayer doesn't work anymore, so I usually pour it in an extra bottle that I got. So this is a good way to use up those sprays that are clogged, because I'm just putting it on my work surface and splattering it on with my fan brush. The thing that drew me most to the layout was that she used triangles of paper to put into a pattern, and so I thought that was a great idea because I have like this paper I wanted to use. It's 6x6 paper, and it's a smaller print, so it will work really good with small triangles. So if you have 6x6 paper that you want to use for your scrapbook layout, or if you have scraps, this is a great way to use them. So the paper I have, I got quite a long time ago, and it's from Moda scrap. It's called Color of Puppies. So I thought that would be going great with my photos. And the ones I'm using are photos of the dog I have right now, Vicky, when she went to the vet. We got her in February, and then COVID was happening, so we did get her to our first 2 appointments before we couldn't take her anymore, and then after that you had to sit in your car, and the vet tech would come out to your car and get your dog and then bring your dog back. So I did get some photos of our first 2 visits to the vet. I only show cutting some of them because I think you get the idea. I'm using my Creative Memories trimmer because the smaller trimmer is easier to cut these smaller pieces. And I couldn't tell exactly what size she did, so I did 1.5-inch squares and then cut those in half to make triangles. I used my dome foam and blending tool to apply some dusty Concord distress ink around the edges of my triangles. Laura used some stamps to stamp over her mixed media with some black ink. I didn't want to use black though since I'm using pastel colors, so I'm using dusty Concord distress ink, and I'm using some stamps, some paw prints and hearts that I have from this Elizabeth Craft Designs dog set, and I'm just kind of stamping those randomly around on the page. I'm using clear photopolymer stamps, so I'm using some mounting blocks in order to stamp. Now the first one I started with is a thicker one, and I find that's easier to use, and that's usually the one I do use. But since I was going to stamp on another piece of paper for my other page, I didn't want to take the footprints off. So I used another one that I have in my stash, and you can see I keep dropping it and things like that. So the thinner ones are definitely harder to manage. For the final mixed media on the background, Laura used some, I think she called it modeling paste, and she just used it white with the stencil. So I'm using some Tim Holtz Distress Texture Paste Opaque. And this paste is definitely getting dried out, but after I mixed it in with some of my Distress ink, it did thin enough that I could put it onto my layout. And I just put it around randomly using Tim Holtz Starry background stencil. I let my page dry overnight, and it actually dried within, I think, an hour or two. But since I was doing this after work, I had to wait till the next evening to finish up my scrapbook page. So I laid out the triangles kind of in the pattern that she did. Now, it doesn't quite go all the way to the bottom, so she probably had her squares a little bit bigger than mine were. And I just put them out randomly. And I really like the look that these triangles made. It kind of reminded me of a quilt pattern, and I do like quilts, and obviously you get to use up your scraps or the 6x6 paper. I originally got 6x6 papers because I'm got into card making, and I thought I would use them a lot, but I ended up doing a lot of scene cards, like with little critters, so I didn't use as much of my pattern paper for the cards. So I'm trying to use them also with cards as well as my scrapbook pages. So this is a great way to use up any smaller papers that you have or scraps. And I'm using Nuvo Deluxe Glue to glue down my triangles. When you're using mixed media, if you're putting down paper or even your photos, you might want to use a liquid glue as opposed to tape, because a lot of the mixed media papers won't stick to with tape. So you want to use something stronger to get down into where all the different textures are, and especially with me using the texture paste, I need to get my papers to stick down. And then I also use my stamping blocks to hold them down as I'm adding more to it. So that way, hopefully that it dries and stays on the page, which they did. I mounted my photos on pink and purple cardstock, and I have more photos than she did. She just put on one photo, but it ended up being good that I had more because they take place as some of the embellishments, because I didn't really have any large embellishments to use on my scrapbook layout. Now, Laura used that eek as her title, and so it's kind of a cluster with the words. I'm just going to put a title because, like I said, I don't really have any large embellishments to put with this. And I found these old alphabet stickers that we have never used that works perfect with this. So I'm just putting visiting the vet, although all the photos are of the vet tech, and on the corresponding page I have a picture of the secretary also. I use a quilting ruler as well as the lines on my glass mat to help me to keep the letters straight. Now, I do try not to push the letters down too hard until I'm sure I got them where I want them. Although my letters do sometimes still get crooked, but it's for me, so I just don't try to worry about it. I usually just attach my photos with these mounting squares, but since I have so much mixed media, I also added some Nuvo Deluxe glue to the back of my photos. Laura added a little kitty cat sticker down on the right-hand side of her photos, so I'm adding some stickers from Creative Memories, a purple heart, as well as some paw prints. I made this little dog from some dies that I have from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and her embellishments are over to the right, but since I already have a photo there, I didn't put it there. And her other one, the haunted house, is above the photo, but since I put my photo further up, I decided to put the dog on the lower portion of the layout. This is the second page that I created for the double page layout, and basically I did it the same. I just put everything going the opposite direction, and also I think I put maybe 2 less triangles on this one. I do have 3 pictures that I'm attaching the same way with the mounting squares and the glue, so I won't be putting a title on this one. I'll put a list of all the products I'm using in the description below. Some of these will be affiliate links. They don't cost you anything extra to use, but I do get a small commission from any sales that the links generate, and that helps support my channel. I made another dog from the same die set. I just find a good place to put it, kind of where the title would have been. And then I also add the heart stickers and paw stickers to the corner of the photograph. Now that's really all the large type of pet things that I did have a sticker sheet from Creative Memories over to the side, but the colors didn't really go with this scrapbook page, so I just left it as it was. As I mentioned earlier, this is part of a YouTube hop, so I'll have a list in the description below. There's actually a playlist that you can just go to the playlist and see all the new videos, or you can also catch up on any videos that we have posted in the past that's on the playlist. And I'll also have that link at the end of this video so you can check it out and get some more inspiration from the other creators of ways that you might scrapbook your pets. And even if you don't have pets, this one was actually used as a pumpkin that somebody carved. So you can change this sketch up to anything that you want, just changing out the colors and the paper. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like. And if you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a wonderful day.